Hi, I'm Ember.
Hi, I'm Ashley. Today we're reviewing the super popular Netflix show, She-Ra. We don't own any of the clips shown in this video, and this video is based off of the Netflix show. This is going to be a 3-part series, part 1 being the character arcs.
This video is going to be full of spoilers for the entire series. You have been warned. By far, the strongest character arc we have ever seen in any TV show is Catra. Catra is the best character in She-Ra for many reasons, but one of the most intriguing to me is her backstory. Growing up as second best in the Horde, getting abused by the monstrous person Shadow Weaver, and never reaching the love of her mother figure, while Adora, aka She-Ra, always being Shadow Weaver's favorite.
The only person who gave her a reason to get out of bed left her, just because she picked up a shiny new sword.
But Catra uses this loss to her advantage.
Now that Adora's place is gone, the position of Force Captain opened up and she could finally prove that even with Adora being gone, she was worth something.
She doesn't want to show that she wanted her. We see moments where she craves real friendships, people who want to be with her just because. And this is where our arc takes off from here. Just a little personal preference, I don't like Swiftwind. Not because of his arc, but because he's a talking horse with wings. What could be more kid show fantasy than that? Also, his dialogue makes me cringe every time. The only person who can form a good relationship with him is Light of My Life, Scorpia. She is an immensely likable character and the only one who can make Swiftwind seem not so terrible.
And for personal thoughts, my least favorite character is definitely Shadow Weaver. I mean, she's so cruel to Catra even though she is worthy, and she gives soft advice to Adora and straightens her hair affectionately.
However, the weakest character arc in the show is sadly the main character, Adora. She's just the typical perfect hero. When she's with Catra, she's amazing. When she's her normal dumb self, she's even better. But when she's at the world is on my shoulders stage, I couldn't care less. I just wish the show could have done a better job with giving her a more fleshed out arc. And knowing how well this show handles its characters, I have no doubt that they could have done it, especially since she's the main character.
Now we're going to be talking about some of the side characters.
First, we're going to be talking about Adora's friends. We've already talked about Catra, but there's also Glimmer and Bow.
Glimmer is an amazing character who goes through lots of personality changes throughout the series. But some of her main traits are bravery, stubbornness, and just being a good friend. Though in Season 4, her friendship skills were lacking. The status and power, along with the abuse and manipulation of Shadow Weaver, put a lot of gaps in her friendships. She lashed out and acted a lot like Catra. Actually, Catra and Glimmer are a lot like each other. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Glimmer, being the daughter of a great sorcerer and immortal queen, often doubts her powers. She lost her dad to the Horde at a very young age. Because of this, it takes a little while to open up to Adora because she's a former Horde soldier. Glimmer's mom, Queen Angela, often overprotects Glimmer. However, Glimmer often takes this love as her mother, not believing in her. And this is where her arc grows from here.
Now let's talk about Bow. He's the friendly, kind, and funny friend that the team needs. He doesn't have such a personal connection to the Horde. He mostly tries to befriend everyone he meets. He's the one who nudges Adora and Glimmer close to each other. Bow is the son of 2 dads, Lance and George, who we meet in Season 2. Bow pretends to be a historian because his dads don't want him to get involved with war. However, Bow wants to be a fighter, so he runs away from home, pretending to be in the Academy of Historic Enterprises. However, in this episode, we see Bow confess he is fighting for the rebellion, and he finds that his dads will accept him for who he truly is. Supporting cast of princesses are Frosta, who can control ice, Mermista, who is basically a waterbender, Perfuma can control and make plants, and Entrapta, who is obsessed with robots and technology. Scorpia is a princess whose backstory is kind of tragic. The Horde took over her kingdom, took her runestone and her connection to it, Plus, her powers, which we saw in Season 4, are so cool. She controls and can make electricity.
Some of the Horde supporting cast are Hordak, who seemed like the big bad villain, but is just trying to earn Horde Prime's approval. Shadow Weaver, originally Light Spinner, takes too much power which corrupts her and pushes her to the dark side, aka the Horde. And Kyle, Lonnie, and Rogelio are Horde cadets who occasionally perform fighting action, but in Season 4 they have a story dedicated to them, teaching that the Horde doesn't care about them, so that they all leave together.
There's one more side character who really shook things up in Season 4. Double Trouble is a non-binary character voiced by a non-binary person. Just a side note, I love how She-Ra doesn't treat them differently or even mention it. Double Trouble is referred to with they/them pronouns, and that is okay. And they are amazing. They're just a shapeshifter and is just an evil, chaotic person. Lizard. Well, you get the idea. Double Trouble isn't an emotionally scarred character. In fact, we don't know their motivations or their backstory. They don't form any real relationships with any of the cast except Catra, but they betray her at the end of Season 4. They are just a truly blank slate. I think this caps off Part 1 of our She-Ra review. Subscribe and like this video, and make sure to check out Part 2 and 3 of our review when it comes out.
Bye
Bye
for now.